Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about elastic laces. I'm going to give you a rundown of why I use elastic laces, why I prefer them over normal laces, and I'm also going to be doing a installation sort of guide, even though it's pretty simple to install them, just in case anyone's struggling or wants help with the setup of their laces. I will show that at the end. Basically, I have been using elastic laces for probably around 5 years now, and ever since I swapped, that's pretty much the only thing that I use in my running shoes. I can't stand normal laces whatsoever. I have to have the elastic ones, so I've just bought a cheapy pair from Amazon. You don't have to have an expensive pair. I have had expensive pairs of laces in the past, elastic laces, and they're no different from the cheaper ones. So yeah, I'm just going to be using these. I will leave a link to these in the description box below if anyone's interested in swapping over to elastic laces. But yeah, I'm basically going to give you an overview of why I use them. So basically, I got sick and tired of quite a few different things that ended up making me swap to elastic laces. The first being that if your shoelace comes undone during a run, which mine has, it's super annoying having to tie them back up and worrying about whether they're going to come undone. I know you can obviously double knot them, but I've double knotted shoes before and they've come undone easily. They can undo over time. So that's one of the reasons why I swapped over. The second is obviously that your feet swell up while you're running. So if you've tied your shoe to your comfort level and then your feet swell during running, you can find that maybe both feet start to hurt because your laces aren't expandable. So as your feet swell, your foot might become tighter in the shoe. I've had that many times. So that can be an issue. You can also have an issue with one lace being tighter than the other and so on. So I basically swapped over to elastic laces for that reason. On top of the fact that with me doing triathlons and triathlon training, it is a lot easier for me for brick sessions, which if you don't know what a brick session is, it's where you go from being on the bike to going out for a run. I swap between a pair of cleat shoes for the bike to a pair of running shoes, and you want your transition to be as short as possible during that time. So the easiest and quickest way to do that without having to faff about tying your shoelaces is to have elastic laces, because you don't have to undo them. So like I said, I've been using them for years and I would never use normal laces now. So I have a new pair of shoes. Well, I have been out in these because I was waiting for the elastic laces to arrive, but these are the 361 Degrees Sensation 3 shoes. I've done a couple of runs in them, only short to the station, and already experiencing the issues that I've told you about, where I can tie the shoelaces and then one becomes really tight and it is super annoying. So I'm definitely ready to swap these out. So I'm going to pan and show you how I install them. Basically all you need is a pair of shoes, you need your elastic laces, and you need a pair of scissors which aren't on the floor. I won't bend down and pick them up. You know what a pair of scissors looks like. So we will get to it. So inside of the elastic lace package, you should have 2 sets of elastic laces. You should have the locking mechanism that basically looks like this. You should be able to see there. So they just thread through there, and then you get these little clip attachments, which is where the ends of the laces go in the end to keep them together. So you also need to take the old laces out of your shoes, so I'm going to do those now and then I'll come back to you in a minute. So I have now taken the laces out of my shoes and I'm going to now start threading the new lace into the shoe. You can obviously thread the laces however you want through the shoe. There are different lace up methods depending on the type that you need. For example, if you have wide feet, you can lace the shoes up to help with that. If you have feet slipping, like heel slipping, sorry, mind the cat. If you have heel slipping, you can have your laces done up a certain way for that. This may take a while. I'm just going to do the standard way, so I'm going to lace these up and then we'll get on to the next part. Okay, now that you have threaded the elastic laces through your shoe, you need to ensure that the laces are the same length if you are not cutting it. If you are cutting it and you think that the length of the lace is too long, then you can obviously skip the step, because when it comes to cutting it, you can make sure that the laces are the same length. If you are not cutting the lace, you need to ensure that the lengths are the same now, because when it comes to one of the next steps and we put the tab on, you won't be able to get both laces in at the same time if the laces aren't the same length, so just make sure that that's right. You then have to put the locking mechanism on, so I'm just going to zoom in so I can show you this step of it. So the locking mechanism has a button like this. When it is pressed, this allows you to thread the laces through these two little holes here, and when the laces are through, the locking mechanism will squish the laces together so that they lock in place. So you want to thread these through, so like I said, push the button and thread the laces through the two holes, and once they're in place, the locking mechanism squishes the laces together so that they don't move. Then it's locked in place, so if you give it a tug, the laces don't move anywhere. Obviously with some considerable force you can move it up and down the lace, but for the most part they are pretty secure and won't move anywhere. So that is that step done. Now if we zoom back out, you want to pull the locking mechanism all the way up to the top and try on the shoe to make sure that all the adjustments in this part of the shoe are correct. Make sure that you've got the laces threaded through the tongue of your shoe if you haven't already, because I've had to rethread this several times or I've missed that out. And obviously make sure that these bits are tight enough or looser if you prefer. And then once you've done that, come back and we will get on to the next step. I have already tried on my shoe and made sure everything is fine. So I am going to go ahead and see whether this needs cutting, which obviously it does. So with the locking mechanism at the top, you ideally want your laces to be just below the last lace. So as you can see, I've got all this excess. If I was to leave this on and just leave it as it is and attach the tab to the bottom, you would have all this excess that would flap about and probably hit your toes most of the time, and that's just really annoying. So you want to cut off the excess. So like I said, as a judgment, I usually cut to just below this last lace at the bottom, and as you can see I'm going to be cutting about this much off, so I'm going to do that now. So let's say cut to, I'm going to leave a little bit of a bend in there just for some excess, just in case it's needed at any point. You don't want to cut it too short and then end up with a lace that's this small with not much adjustment. So I'm going to cut it to there. So cut that bit. There we go, so I've cut those little ends off there, and you're left with the two ends here. So I'm going to zoom in again. You can see that they are raw threads and laces at the end, so there's no little plastic tip that keeps things in place anymore. As you can see on these, it's got like a plastic little film over them to protect them from fraying. The idea is that you will put it inside this little tab and they should stay in place, and it keeps the laces together so that they don't separate and flap all over the place. They're just stuck in one place. So we are going to attach these now. So I won't make the mistake that I did on the last pair that I did and do them off camera. I need to make sure that it's in focus for you guys. So I don't think it really matters which way that you put the tab on. I'm basically just going to have this thick side to the top of the lace and have the smaller, thinner bit at the back underneath. So you want to push the lace inside this thinner bit, and then when you fold it over, the teeth inside this little tab will grip onto the lace so that they don't come out. So if all goes well, laces inside that smaller bit, and then you basically just push this together until they clip in place. Sorry, I just had to faff about with the lace a bit to get them to clip in properly, but you can see that it's got these little ledge bits that clip in here, so you just need to make sure that they're securely in on both sides, and then the lace will not come out of that because of the teeth. So that is pretty much it, that's all done. So you have the locking mechanism up here and the little tab at the bottom. Usually what I do with mine is just thread this last bit through here and through the bottom, so that when it's on, this lace doesn't flap about anywhere, it's securely under the laces. But that's pretty much it. That is how you install the lock laces on the shoe, so that's all done. I have the other one that I did earlier here as well. So again, I usually just thread this through the bottom bit to keep these in place. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you put elastic laces inside your shoes. Hopefully this is helpful to someone that might not know how to do it just from the instructions. So here they are. These are the elastic laces, and I obviously have them on to show you what they're like. So if you want to adjust, you can obviously just pull the mechanism and it makes the shoe looser, I should say. And then if you want to tighten it up, you basically just pull the lace and readjust. But yeah, I really like them. It just allows you to be able to take your shoe off really easily without having to untie your lace, and just slip it back on as usual without having to tie up anything. So super easy, super cheap way. Definitely a must for people doing triathlons. That is as simple as it gets for installing elastic laces into your shoes. Hopefully someone found this helpful or wanted to know the reason why people use elastic laces in their shoes. For anyone thinking of doing triathlon or anything like that, I 100% recommend swapping to elastic laces. It makes everything so much easier, especially if you're doing brick sessions, and especially during the race, it cuts down your transition time a lot. So that's one thing I definitely would recommend to anyone looking to do triathlons or is currently in triathlon training. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a thumbs up and let me know that you liked it. And please subscribe to my channel. I will have a new video coming out at the weekend, and I try to get a video out every week. I haven't been so good the last few weeks, but I have lots of content planned and coming up soon, so yeah, subscribe to see that. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week or weekend, depending on when you're watching this, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.